You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.
Well,
hello.
happy Monday to you.
It's been chaos, everybody, but we're going to have a show of shows today. We're going to be concentrating on Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, right where I'm at. And, he's been in the news with Badmouth and Elon, and just like My Pillow, when My Pillow was attacked, also you have Elon getting attacked. Also because what? Because he wants to help save our country and help us save money. It's disgusting. So what I have, hold on a second here. Vanessa, maybe you could kind of frame the show a second here. I got a quick hit.
Yeah, so, I want to talk more while you're working on that. I want to talk more about Elon and Walz, because I talked about them a little earlier on the Spin Room. And Elon Musk was very disappointed that Tim Walz would come out and say that he was happy that Tesla stocks were declining one day in the market. So one day in the market, that's the point of the market. The market goes up and down every day. When I log in, I never know if it's going to say negative or plus, always hoping that it says plus. But from day to day, you never know. And he has one day where it went down. And, as you know, Mike, the Tesla stock has gone up and up and up, especially since they've been burning down the Tesla dealerships. And so Tim Walz comes out poking fun at Elon Musk and Tesla. I know before we get to our guest, I want to air that. We do have that video. And then Tim Walz's response to Elon Musk. So if we have that video of Elon Musk talking about how unfortunate it is that Tim Walz is, celebrating Tesla stock going down.
Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Walz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with the Tesla stock price where the stock price had gone in half, and he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep. What a jerk. Like, who derives joy from that? And
yeah, and so it's ridiculous. And Tim Walz comes out today saying, Elon, I'll make you a deal. I'll stop making fun of your stock when you take your hands off Social Security. Well, Mike, what's he doing? He's finding the fraud in Social Security. He's not taking away from the true recipients of Social Security, which the left wants people to believe that Trump's administration is getting rid of Social Security.
Right. Yeah, those are the big lies they're putting out. I even have my own relatives going out, he's doing this, he's doing that. I go, no, he's not. And let's just talk about the Social Security. Elon, even 2 months ago, it's been over a month and a half, I believe, where all of a sudden they started diving into the Social Security, and they're going, hey, look at all these people that are over. I think the president used them in his speech. We have this many people over 150 years old, this many people over 200 years old. One person, I remember in his speech at CPAC, everybody, they said one person, he was older than the United States in the thing. So
over 250 years old.
Yeah, everyone, and you look into this, these roles where people are getting these benefits, everybody, we're all paying for it. But the big thing there too is, why would anybody fight this unless you have a hidden agenda like Tim Walz? Everybody, we're going to talk a lot about Tim Walz's hidden agenda today, I'll tell you. And here, with that being said, those roles are on what? The Social Security is all on. They're on computers. They're on, there's all these people that are on there. Now, let's just assume everybody that, okay, computers could be used in election. Let's just say you have everything stored on the voter rolls, which they do, in this country. I'll give an example. In the state of Wisconsin, you have 7.2 million people on their voter rolls that on the Wisconsin voter rolls. If everybody in Wisconsin voted that was eligible, it's a little over 4 million. So there's 3.1 million names, deceased, you name it, just put that are on there that for what? And this is what Elon's finding out on the Social Security rolls. And I'm going, hey, did everyone forget our elections? So I'll tell you what, I can't wait. I'm going to put it out there. I really need to have a sit down. I've never met Elon Musk yet. And if everybody knows, the biggest thing he did, in my mind, was at least the start, was last June, where he came out on Twitter after he'd seen all this election stuff with computers, the stuff we had, and he came out and he said, we can't use computers were not meant to be used in elections. We can't do it. You can't have machines and computers used in elections. He said that in June. Then he doubled down in July and said it again. Here's one of the smartest men in the world. He's all about computers and tech. He says, you can't do it because elections are too important, and one flaw or one break-in and you lose your country. So, for Walz to attack him, it's just like when I was attacked at My Pill. There's so many similarities, everybody. When I came out for the actually in 2000, you go all the way back to 2016, everybody, when I was the media's darling, ex-crack cocaine addict, all this stuff, and the media's darling, the American dream on steroids here in Minnesota. Build this big company. Every day I had ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. It didn't matter. Mike, how many more people are you hiring today? How many more, addicts are you hiring? Ex-addicts and veterans and you name it. Every walk of life we're hiring. And well, that all changed when I did a press release and said I had met Donald Trump. I didn't know anything about politics, Vanessa. I didn't know what a liberal was, a conservative. I didn't know a Democrat, Republican. You guys, I had never voted in my life. I just innocently, I met this man that invited me, Donald Trump. I had never watched The Apprentice. Invited me to New York City because he wanted to know, it was one-on-one. He wanted to know what it was, bringing back jobs to our country and what it was like with My Pillow being your manufacturing here. And we talked about that. We talked about the my Lindell Recovery Network that I was going to have. Back then it was just a dream in my head, and now it's full blown. And what's happening there? Keith Ellison in Minnesota is attacking that. I mean, this is the lawsuit right here, or the motion to compel on that. So as soon as I did that press release, I was attacked relentlessly. Now, Better Business Bureau, the crooked Better Business Bureau, lowered My Pillow from an A+ to an F. They accused me of everything under the sun. The media turned on me like I was some, I didn't change. You just changed what? Because I did my due diligence and I met this great man, talked to his employees, all that. And but the disturbing part, back then, and by the way, that was the first time the Minneapolis Star and Tribune in Minnesota turned on me. Okay, I was in there all the time, and they turned on me. We averaged all the advertising we did with them, and every other newspaper and every other media outlet in the country. My Pillow did. We were the number one print ad of all time, number one product sold of all time. You name it, the list goes on and on. Well, then you get up to, I'm going to talk because I'm going to lead into Walz here. So here's Walz. In 2020, everybody, when I did the Rose Garden speech, when I was at the Rose Garden right before the China virus, I just, I didn't know masks didn't work, but I went and spent millions on them, converted My Pillow over to them, did the Rose Garden speech. Well, from that point on, that's when the cancellation started too, because we were given a supplement that actually would save lives and open up our country. So I was attacked like you wouldn't believe by the all the way from in Canada too. They canceled a shopping channel up there, the QVC here, the Home Shopping Network, all these box stores. I mean, or some few box stores then. But interestingly enough, at that time, the rumor had spread that I was going to be running for governor of Minnesota. Now, Walz at that time, he put out a thing, and he said, because I had considered it then, and but it had leaked out, and it came down to that fall, Minnesota needed, his office reached out for masks. They wanted masks, and I said, so I had all these we had that we were stuck with, we had bought and whatever, millions of dollars worth, and I said, I'll just donate them to the state of Minnesota. Here's what Walz's office said. No, Mike. Mike Lindell is not going to donate these masks until after the election. Okay? And we're going, no, you need them now. Why would I be any different, or my pillow be any different than anyone else? Walz's office came back and said, you can do it, but the media will have to park 2 blocks away, because they did not want it. He was very much afraid it was going to promote Mike Lindell as governor. Okay? Now, also, he sent out these flyers. I was trying to find them today. These mailers that went all over Minnesota, warning people that if I ran, do you want someone like Donald Trump or this businessman? And so he went on, very much in fear of me running for governor then. Well, then, of course, after the 2020 election, and by the way, during this time, everybody, the stuff he did to our state, everybody knows the fires that happened in Minneapolis. We all know that, him and the mayor were behind that. Walz also, in Minnesota, I'm going to tell you, I remember my daughter calling up and going, Dad, we can't have Thanksgiving. You can only have, I think it was 8 people in your house. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, or your neighbor could turn you in and you get 90 days in jail. That's what Walz's thing was. Christmas, he threw us a bone. You got 4 more. All these things, these nonsensical things. And guys, so all these things that were going on then, I was very much looking at running. And then here, of course, then the machines came into play where stole that election. And I think I quoted back then, right now I wouldn't run to be a dog catcher. I got bigger things I have to get, help save the country, to get rid of these machines. Well, then, if you all remember, Walz was going to shut down our lakes for the fishing opener. This is in Minnesota. To shut down our lakes. This is before all the nonsense you guys have seen on a national level now. But he's going to shut down our lakes. And very famously, everyone went down to protest at the Capitol, all the crazy stuff he was doing during the China virus. And he actually got on the phone with our president and said, get him out of our yard. Everyone's seen this in the news, whatever. And whatever the president said to him, he put out a tweet, and then it was a tweet because he hadn't been canceled yet. And says, I had a good conversation with the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. People just left, assuming that it got solved at that time, which it did. Whatever it was that was going, it did get solved. He didn't shut down our lakes, whatever. I don't know that conversation, but this is how nonsensical Walz was at everything he's ever done. And now it's just so that what's going on now, what he's doing, it's almost like I'm seeing this with Elon Musk. And I don't know what Walz is trying to do. Like, I was so happy, Vanessa, when they picked him to run with Kamala Harris, because I'm going, now the whole country is going to see what we have here in Minnesota, how horrific it is with this guy. There's nobody worse. There is nobody worse than Walz as far as where his brain is, where his common sense is. And with that, I'm going to bring in Rick Weibel. Rick, are you there?
It is. You're absolutely right, Mike. In Minnesota, we can't tell if we are in an endless loop of Babylon Bee stories that are going on here, because when you think about why are we shutting down lakes, for the fishing opener in Minnesota, you're literally in a boat not that many other people around. Then you have the unbelievable story of putting tampons in boys' bathrooms, because they believe that boys can menstruate. So this is where the nickname of Tampon Tim comes from. And the other big highlight too is not just about elections, but just the fiscal management of the state. How do you go from one biennium having a $17.5 billion surplus to now the state is wrangling their hands around a $6 billion deficit? Tim Walz and the Democrats, you are responsible for this. And so it's time that we actually start looking for business leaders to come together in Minnesota and start running for these positions in the legislature, for governor. And so when we look at candidates across Minnesota, and you look at some of the leading candidates out there, I'm not finding a lot of solution providers out there. And so I would, since you've kind of talked about already in this early segment, I want to put you a little bit on the spot and encourage you to really pray, use some discernment. And I would absolutely encourage you to consider a run there in Minnesota, especially when we look at everything that Walz is doing. You definitely would be able, with your platform and your business experience, and plus, I mean, seriously, if the worst that they're going to call you is that you were a drug addict and you recovered, well, maybe you have the right prescription other than Scott Jensen to actually understand the addictive problem of spending in Minnesota and actually right size and balance a budget like you do for your businesses as well as the other organizations that you are part of, to actually help provide leadership to bring Minnesota back from the dark ages and the Babylon Bee continuous script that seems to be happening every day under his leadership.
Well, you guys stay tuned for this whole show. I do have some of the stuff you said there. I'm gonna reveal something towards the end of the show here, but I do want to say I've lived in Minnesota my whole life, and I just want to bring up a couple other things with Walz. You talk about people in addiction. Everybody knows my story with one of the odds from Crack Addict CEO, one of the dealers that actually took that picture when I was up 14 days in Minneapolis. Those people in Minneapolis that back then that had rebuilt their lives, and they had all these businesses up and down Lake Street and everything else that had quit drugs, got off drugs through my network, a lot of them through my recovery network. And back then in 2009, when I quit everything, these guys, a lot of them had started their lives. And you know what? It all went up in flames with Walz and the mayor of Minneapolis. But, these were non-decisions and also decisions that have this hidden agenda. Can you put down, do we have some stuff, Rick, to tell our current footprint in Minnesota and what a lot of people nationally, what he's doing now? He's got a national presence now that he didn't have before, and people are seeing. I really believe that Minnesota is somewhat the tip of the spear here. The tip, as far as we've talked about Minnesota and South Dakota. When we talk about our election platforms, we got a lot going on there. But you guys, Minnesota has so many battles you haven't heard about. I mean, we are this far away from being your California or your Chicago. If not, we already are, but we are fighting like everyone else. So
you're absolutely right. So Minnesota's footprint has national implications. There was a reason why Tim Walz was groomed for the vice presidential pick. When you already have the 20-year veteran of the Democrat Party in Minnesota, Ken Martin, now being the head of the DNC. And then you have Steve Simon, the Secretary of State, head of the National Secretary of State Association. You can already see the framework of those three already starting to build the building blocks nationally for Minnesota's influence going there. Then you also have Tom Emmer on the Republican side, who is basically a major player within the Republican Party, within the House caucus at the federal level. And so he was also head of the NRCC and knows how to fundraise. The other thing that we have to look at, too, is all of the legal cases that we've had in Minnesota where Perkins Coie has been involved and Mark Elias has been involved with the consent decrees across the United States, including Minnesota. And so there's a lot of lessons learned in Minnesota that we need to stop and help Minnesota turn the tide regarding all of the corruption that's happening within the state, but also its influence across the United States.
Right. And can you just put out there, well, that's why they're having, Tim Walz making these comments about, against Elon. Any other Democrat governor, people are going whoop-de-doo, but he has that national. They're trying to spin this, just like I seen Vanessa had put on there about we put up the clip with the Social Security, but then also with, Waltz out badmouthing Elon and going after Tesla and just laughing, going, "Yeah, this is a great day for me." When and he's just all he's doing is firing up hate, and for what? Like Elon, he's sitting there, and I think Elon is actually, I would bet he's as surprised right now, everybody. Vanessa, I want you to hear this too, because I think Elon is probably, and maybe you have, I don't know if we have any more clips from there, but I think Elon, when he came on board last summer, when he was hit with, he just quit it out there. He put our election, we can't use computers in election. Then you got to July, and he put it out there again. And then, he helps more than I could ever imagine getting our great president elected. And then now in this cleanup, I think he is very much surprised. You could see in that little interview there, like, what am I doing? Why are you attacking these car owners, whatever, because what? Because we want to do something good? I think he's actually surprised. Before I thought, well, it's just because I'm helping the president get elected. But now everybody, if you could look at this, what's the logic now? And that's what I think he's taken back. I would love to meet Elon, to sit down with him and go, hey, I was taken back too, like I just told you in 2016. And then even again of late, because the president won, everybody. Donald Trump won, and I've been attacked, and my pillow has been attacked more from November till now than any time in history. I got Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, going after my foundations, my recovery networks, but I know why. I think Elon's still in that kind of what stage, I watched it last night in Wisconsin there. It's like, all the man wants to do, his heart is to help. He's got all the money he'd ever need in the world. I like it that he put out too his marketing going, those $1 million giveaways draws the attention of the terrible media outlet out there to go and, to bash him on that. So he's kind of using a playbook out of the president in mind where you get bashed and you're able to get, the spotlight on this. So do you think that?
And he said that too last night. He said, I'm doing this for attention because I know the media is going to pick up on this. But I want to make a connection too between Waltz and laughing at the decline or the destruction going on with Teslas. He's okay with people going in and burning down Tesla dealerships. But you have to understand, he was the same way. He let Minneapolis go up in flames after George Floyd. He let people roam the streets and set fires to small businesses. So this man is very destructive. He's not about peace. He's about, destruction. And he laughs about it, and that's not okay.
No, you're exactly right.
And Minneapolis has not recovered yet. Yeah.
No, they have not. And and it's so... I mean, with Waltz, for him bragging, hey, it makes me feel good when Elon Tesla gets attacked. You're exactly right. I mean, what was he happy? Was he happy when, everything's burning down? Like I just told you, I had a lot of my friends had built their lives. They got freed from drug and all the stuff that went on down there back when I spent a lot of time in the streets of Minneapolis on crack. And to laugh at that, I guarantee you, he let that all happen. You're exactly right. He didn't call in the National Guard until our great president reached out to him and said, hey, what are you doing? what are you doing? We will help you. Why are you letting the streets burn? And we could get into, I mean, if the focus here is on Walz, it all comes from the top, but then you got our mayor of Minneapolis. There's so many things wrong with Minnesota. And what we need to do, I just think, it's all about perception, everybody. And what they're doing right now, evil is regrouping, and they're regrouping, or what they're doing, this is going to come down to the next election, and that's the 26 election, everybody. If you don't, I'm telling you this for a fact, they stole at least 4 senators and 9 members of the House in this last election. Now, why didn't they steal it all? Just take it so they would have the House. They did it. We talked about this, Rick and you and I talked about this. They did it because if they would have stolen it, everyone would have demanded, open up those machines. You can fool us once, you're not going to fool us twice. Like, give us China virus 2.0. We're not going to sit, Waltz. We're not going to, if you would hand us that, we're not going to let you only have 8 people in our house. We're not going to let our loved ones die where we can't even say hug them and say goodbye, whatever. I mean, we're not going to let us use just a vaccine and become instead of using all the stuff that people knew worked, probably him too. And all your supplements that did work, that could have saved millions of lives, and to this day, millions of lives. But so we wouldn't have put up with it. If they do anything with our election platforms, nobody would have put up with it this time around. But I'm telling you, that's why they backed up. Said, okay, they're just sitting sitting there waiting in the lurch. We are a year and a half away. Rick, you're an expert on this. Where do Republicans, how do we end up with rhinos or people like Monet Johnson, uniparty Republicans, or blockers? The blockers. How do we end up with blockers in the general election? How do we end up with that? It doesn't even make sense. Like, they tell us who we can vote for, and all of a sudden they're not there. So how important are the primaries?
They are the most important, especially in red states, but even in more and more states right now in their legislatures are considering destroying the caucus system and moving to a primary system. That is happening right now in the legislature for consideration in the state of Minnesota. And so stay tuned. And there's actually, and I didn't tell you this yet, Mike, there has been a leak from the MNGOP that Alex Plakesh, the current chair, has been told by some of the congressmen that they no longer need the state Republican Party and that they are going to do without any of the help from the MNGOP. That's absolutely disgusting. It's a slap in the face to all of the grassroots. And so the very fact that that has happened should be a wake-up call for all the patriots to get involved in your local parties, your local BPOU. Start looking for candidates and start doing what needs to be done, which is you may have to go look in the mirror and determine if you're the person that needs to step up and run to reclaim Minnesota and your other states that are out there, because this coming election in 2026 will reset many of the state legislatures, the governors, as well as the House of Representatives, and a huge segment of the Democrats are at risk in the U.S. Senate. So this is the time to start exploring, because some of these primary dates are moving up from the late summer to early spring. And so timing is everything to make sure that you qualify to run. And you need to start giving so that they can get there and start supporting groups out there, patriot groups, to make sure they are there for election integrity, and also supporting candidates, but also recruiting and educating candidates what they need to look out for, because this is going to be a true battle. And let me just tell you, Ken Martin at the DNC level, along with Mark Elias and Perkins Coie, they understand exactly what is at stake, and they're going to throw everything at this midterm election. There is no way they want the Trump agenda to be successful. And the way that we make it more successful is winning the governorships, winning Congress, and winning the Senate. So that means not be complacent like past and just have this and that Trump everything on his own.
Right.
We need to work together as a grassroots and get out there and support candidates and
Right, but then we take the spot.
get out there and get dirt and vote.
Yeah, no, that's
And-
exactly right. That's why, we know from the last 3 or 4 years, I can't see the bottom part of it. There you go. Thank you. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've learned what's important, what's not important too. And in these early elections, these early primary stuff, like what's going on in Wisconsin right now, you guys, with the Supreme Court there, that was one Supreme Court that made one ruling that actually could have changed, other than the Robin Voss being the big blocker, that could have changed everything 3 years ago. If you remember that, I believe it was the spring of 22. I'll give you an example, everybody. Robin Voss, the blocker, the Speaker of the House in Wisconsin, he says, well, I know there's widespread fraud in Wisconsin, but until a court rules on it, we can't do anything. Mike, my hands are tied. He told the world this, everybody. What happened a couple weeks later, I believe it was June of 22, and I could have my dates wrong, but who's going to fact check me? Corrupt Alan Duke. But it was June of 22. And when that happened, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin said, yes, there was fraud. They put it out there. There was fraud. And Robin Voss, at that point, should have said, wow, there's my court that ruled that, because they ruled right, everybody. And Robin Voss just blocked it and did nothing. But had they not ruled right, at least we know, hey, what it found out there was what? Found out Robin Voss is one of the biggest blockers this country's ever seen, and there's another hidden agenda. But we had a court that made a decision. It's just making these courts just making decisions, and they shouldn't be political decisions like it's 4 Democrats and 2 here. No, these are decisions for the people, everybody. And this is where we need to get to have what we're trying to do is get candidates that are elected instead of selected. Then they'll have the people's back. And we've got so anybody that thinks that with our great president getting in. For us, this is just a continuum. It should make it easy for us, Rick, easier, I would say, to fight this battle of evil versus good of epic proportions. And everyone says, well, Mike, what I said before, too, is I said the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are long gone. I want you to go back. What we have here, everybody, is 2 parties now. We have the Donald Trump Party, the party of common sense. This is why... No, if you think of this, what Elon's doing for the people to go out and clean up the where the money is spent, like you would not spend money here to these people that don't exist. They were listing some of this stuff off and going, I don't care. You can talk to any people. If they know the truth, what he's really doing, they're going to go, wow, that's a great idea. That's more money for whether it's a government program to give to people that really need it, or if it's just to save each and every one of us on our taxes, then we don't have to pay more in. It's either one or the other, everybody. Either you get more of stuff that's really the people that are really in need, or you pay less taxes if that money's covered. That's all it is. And I'm telling you that the other party is called, it's the uniparty globalist deep state. This is the party that's been fighting out there of the Obamas, the Clintons, and wait on it, the Bushes. This is the uniparty that's been out there for a long time. This power, these globalists, these deep state globalists, whatever. So now, can you have Democrat, uniparty Democrat? Of course. But there's also Democrat politicians that don't even have a clue of that this other party exists. They just vote Democrat like a robot. And then you have the Republican Party over here, the old Republican Party, that's full of not Democrats, that people call them rhinos. Those are uniparty Republicans. There were plants put in there to block us from finding out about this uniparty deep state globalist. We know all this now, Rick, from all the stuff over the last 4 years. You guys, it's been a big trickle down. Now, what would you call Walz? Walz is, he's right now, the tip of the spear. He's out there speaking. This is all marketing, you guys. Nobody, I can't believe there's a human being on planet Earth like Tim Walz. Okay,
You're
Tim
right.
Walz.
Yeah.
There is no
He
way.
doubled down this last week where he said, our very existence depends on diversity, equity, and inclusion. When he traveled down to Texas and gave a speech there, and then right after Donald Trump put out the executive order regarding elections, he calls for a new shadow government to be created.
Right.
From the Democrat side. This is spooky stuff. He's out there publicly saying this as test balloons to see where the American public is at. We need to reject this publicly.
It's a marketing thing, and I don't believe he's smart enough. He's definitely evil enough to do all this, but you guys, the stuff that's behind the evil curtain that he's got, that he's doing, he is, this an executive order. I mean, to the shadow government. What would that exactly mean? I haven't read this. Explain what that would mean, Rick.
Well, basically, they already have that. And so in Minnesota, with the way that they've organized the DFL, it's a little bit different here. The Democrat Farmer Labor Union Group, they have the Democrat Party is kind of a shell organization, and then they have all of their affiliate organizations make sure that they donate to this central area, and then their leadership basically meets to basically come up with all their ideas and their agenda. And we saw that right away when there was kind of a tie within the House of the legislature in Minnesota, where the Democrats decided not to show up for 2 weeks so that they could basically suspend any type of government and legislative processes, and it goes to the Minnesota Supreme Court. This type of activism behind the scenes where we didn't elect them, this is exactly what Walz wants, and this is kind of the same stuff that John Podesta created back in the day under Obama to basically kind of say, we're going to create these experts in the field and make sure that the activists are connected so we can do push politics. They are going to do this again, and this new progressivism that Walz is part of is a lot more dangerous, and he's very creative. We laugh at some of his early commercials where he talks about, well, socialism is kind of like the new neighborhood, being neighborly, and we just have to talk through it and kind of force our way through it. It's like, I'm sorry, but that's disgusting. We're not in this for socialism, and we are patriots, and we are independent, and we can take care of ourselves. We don't need the cuddly bear of government that wants to basically rob us blind.
Well, but what they're using him for nationally, and I know we got on the script there, the time is up for Tim Walz. What we mean by that, everybody, is we've got to recognize him for what he is right now. He needs to be stopped. The evil that he's spreading and what he's spreading, you just sit back and go, oh, nobody will listen to that. And, Tesla will be okay. The stock's going up again. And it was just a little blip there. No, Tim Walz isn't going away anytime soon, you guys. We have to address him. We have to hit him head on. We've lived it in Minnesota. I've watched what has happened in Minnesota myself as a business. I'm not just talking my pillow getting attacked. What we put up with here, the stuff that we put up. I recently won where they were going to make it so my employees could not work from home, my call center, and we beat them at that. But now you've got Keith Ellison attacking my Lindell Recovery Network. You have the IRS and stuff attacking my pillow, my employee-owned company. You have the Star and Tribune attacking me all the time when they do their little articles. The newspaper that used to love me, oh, Mike Lindell, how you doing? Blah blah blah, and they're all behind Tim Walz. What Tim did back when I was running or going to run for the governor of Minnesota against him, he put out, that was just hearsay back then. I had never announced any intent or anything, but a lot of people, wanted me to or whatever. And Walz put out this flyer. I'll never forget it. It went out to, I think, every home in Minnesota. It had to cost him millions. I know what a mailer is. This was a mailer, everybody. And on the mailer, I don't know if we found it today or not, that picture, but what it was is, do you want this guy? And they basically said, another Donald Trump, this businessman that wouldn't know anything about politics, right? And also they said, another thing they said was he didn't. What was interesting in that one, he didn't bash that I was an ex-addict. You know what I mean? And during that flyer, it was basically he compared me to Donald Trump, which everybody knows I backed this great man, and So that was interesting. So one of the things too is back then when they they assumed I was, or people assumed I was running, they didn't come out with Mike Lindell, boy, he used to do crack cocaine and all this stuff. I've been through all that already, Rick. I mean, they one of the things when I came on the scene with that, they couldn't really bash me. I know the Inquirer did a thing on me once. Mike Lindell's deep dark past. And they had a picture of me on the front of the National Enquirer, everybody. It didn't even sell any copies because I had already told the whole world my story. I can't change my past. I can only do things to improve, help people from my past or learn from the past to move forward into the future. I'm gonna do a little read of our commercial right now. Or Vanessa, are you there? Can you do that quick? I want this embedded in here. Maybe you could put the promo code or the mypillow.com. Can you put it in the thing there in the bottom thirds there? Who's ever doing that?
Yes. Yes. So while they're working on that, of course, we thank Mike Lindell, all his employees. Thank you as well for your continued support of MyPillow. They have a big allotment of their bed sheets that were earmarked for the box stores this spring. There you go. Mike has it right there. They did it again. The box stores didn't come through, so they're going to pass those savings on to you. No middleman. You're going to get wholesale prices on their famous. Which sheets do you have right there, Mike?
These are the Percale sheets. Do we have a thing to put up at all, or do we have the website? Go to mypillow.com, everybody. Go down till you see me and click on my image, and then you're going to see the Percale sheets. The queens are usually $89 or $89.98. Right there. Scroll down. Click on there. There it is, right now. The radio listener special. Right there on the left. Once they're gone, they're gone. We had 14 colors come in of the Percale. They're normally $89.99. The box stores were going to get the queens for $29.98. That's what you're getting them for. King size only $34.98. And also the Giza Dream sheets over 50 or up to 50% off. And there you have the My Crosses at 30% off, the most requested product I've ever had. And so that made in the USA, like the one I wore all the way back to the crack houses. I wanted to be that person. God kept chasing me, and here we are. And then if you go down a little bit more, there you have the My Pillow, the $9.98, you guys. These are commemorative pillows. The My Pillow 2.0, we're already out of two of them. The limits are 15. They're only $9.98. If you've never used a My Pillow 2.0, these pillows are so awesome, and they have those covers. You get the cases, everything for $9.98, a limit of 15. So anyway, there's those. I just want to put that in here, because
and
right
that
now my
1-800 number too.
Yeah, the 1-800 number.
That 1-800 number. 859-2879, 1-800-859-2879. Call that number. Also, Mike, I've really been pushing for you. Small businesses. If the big box stores won't do it, small business owners, you can put MyPillow products in your store. So all you have to do is call that 1-800 number. Again, that's 1-800-859-2879. For all of you ordering, free shipping options are available. And as Mike mentioned, they won't last long. When they're gone, they're gone.
When they're gone, they're gone. Well, you're getting good at that, Vanessa. But
I know. I see the commercial so many times, it's just automatically.
I want to tell everybody, this is so similar. If you guys are on social media, reach out, text, tweet, whatever you got to do to Elon. I would really like to meet him. And I would, I think right now he's just, by what Tim Walz is attacking, I want to tell him a lot about first of all, I could give him all of our election stuff we've had for the last 4 years. And I could console him going, hey, you know what? This goes deeper than just the Democrat, some governor in Minnesota attacking you, as I know with My Pillow. I think, and they're going, well, why wouldn't all the people want what I'm doing? This week, I know I'm saying like Elon, that all the people, Elon, do want what you're doing. Exactly. All the people do. What we're up against, this small group that runs not only the media, that runs all this uniparty, these deep state globalists, and the trillions behind them, it's all marketing to get them to attack you, Elon, to attack you and maybe get you frustrated. But I know he's not. He just doubles down. You gotta like Elon for that. He doubles down and he's not going to stop. I thought he did just an amazing rally there in Wisconsin, with because that is it's one of the most important races right now you could go to. If you're watching in Wisconsin, I mean, you got to is that vote, that's tomorrow, right? Or is that Tuesday or Wednesday?
It's Tuesday, I believe.
It is
In
tomorrow,
Florida
yeah.
as well. We're watching big races in
Oh
Florida
yeah, in
as
Florida
well.
as well. But I'm talking. But what they're attacking him for is they're not attacking him. The deep state globalists, uniparty. They're not attacking him for the good things he's doing, because if they're if they were just normal people, of course they're not. They're attacking him for what he stands for. That they're going to expose, and the deep state globalists are never going to win again. They're not going to win if we get these places cleaned out and secure, and to help all people. One of the things, you guys, with Donald Trump, he's going to go down in history as the biggest unifier ever in history. When you talk to people, Rick, I go on the ground. When I can go downtown Minneapolis or the heart of Chicago. I'm talking people, and I don't care what party. They're either Democrat, Republican, don't matter. They come up and they're going, keep going. We're with you on those secure elections. We're with you on securing our election. That's just one item, everybody. No, there is nobody out there that I could talk to. I went on the Young Turks. I went in Jimmy Kimmel. Even Jimmy, all of them can agree. We want the most secure election platforms you could ever get, okay? So if we agree on that, the guarantee, do you think there's any people in this country that want Social Security to go into names that are 150 years old, that someone's getting a check over here? Of course they don't, if you ask the people. So what do you have to do to combat that? If you're evil, you have to convince the people that these things that are going on are somehow affecting them wrongly. Like, Donald Trump's going after your Social Security. Look what Elon Musk is doing. And they're lying. They're just lying, out and out lying. And this is what Walz is. What he's doing right now, it's just marketing, you guys. That's all it is. He's marketing a lie. And he's been marketing a lie for so long. Look at you could go back, Rick, you could go back to everything Walz has done since he's been governor here in Minnesota. It's marketing a lie to the people. Now the big one he says that he just came out, everybody. This was, they said, well, I'm not going to run. There's a Senate seat up here. Tina Smith, I guess, is not running. Yep. So Tina Smith is a Democrat. Terrible, whatever. But anyway, she said she's not running. So they asked Walz if he's doing that. I guess he just put out a statement, or his team did. No, I'm not going to run for that. I like being governor. I like being governor. So my point being is the stuff. So what he's doing, and the reason he's doing that, is because he's got this national president. Evil told him. I guarantee you, Rick, the people behind that said, no, you're going to be, you were vice president, you ran for vice president. You need to get out there now and market this evil and market the lies to the people. And we know that each thing he did here, and we've got to just get the word out of what he stands for. It's more than just a governor of Minnesota. I watch my state. You guys, I've lived here all my life, and I just watch things go, and Walz has been. And by the way, everybody, we don't have term limits in Minnesota for governor. I don't know if people are aware of that, Rick.
You're exactly right. And here's one of the big examples that you talk about where you've lived in Minnesota all your life. You remember when Minnesota used to battle it out for top 3 position in education? Well, then in 2022, Minnesota dropped to 9th. Then in 2024, Minnesota education now ranks 19th in education. This is care of Tim Walz. And so the number one thing Minnesota has always been known about is education, and Walz is failing Minnesotans on purpose. And so it's time to turn this around. And you're right. when people are lied to and they're not educated properly, they can get away with this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so it's time to put the brakes on this stuff.
Right. You just said that you just tweaked my memory what I was going to say. Just today, maybe I just seen it today because I know I was going to get on this and talk all about Tim Walz. Tim Walz put out a thing that when he said he would not run for Senate, he said he likes being governor and he wants to keep making Minnesota the #1 place for children. That was his quote, everybody. Look it up. The #1 state for children. Now, Rick, read those stats again. So we were what, third? What were we? What was the highest we were? What year?
We were always competing for top 3 in the country.
Top 3 in the country
for
everybody.
education. Then in 2022, we dropped down to 9th. And then in 2024, we dropped down to 19th. And so this is in reading and math comprehension.
Right. What was the variable there? Let's see, everybody. Now I look at deviations all the time, every day. That's all I do. Look for deviations in numbers, whatever. I'm going to look at a number here, top 3, then 9th, and then 19th. What changed? Tim Walz came into our state, and for some reason, people voted him in to be governor. Now, we don't know. Remember, there's machines, there's computers, I would say, I don't know back then, when he got, what year was he voted in?
So he would have been voted in, I believe, in 2018 to start out with. And then,
right. So look at that. It doesn't take rocket science to say, so he gets voted in, we're in the top 3, and okay, those are facts. Those are facts. So his policies, whatever he did, took us from here to here. We're taking, and that's what you're going to run on, or what? Tim, are you going to run on bashing My Pillow, going after My Pillow, USA company, made in the USA? The CEO is an ex-crack addict from the cities, from wandering the streets of Minneapolis to building this and the American dream, where you could only do this, probably one of the few places in the world where you can go from that to where I'm at, because that's the power of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But also you need to be able to do that. You couldn't do it in any other country in the world, I don't believe, what's happened. So, and then, and you're going to sit and bash Elon Musk. That's what you're going to run. I'm going to bash Elon Musk and just keep bashing Trump people. I'm just going to keep bashing, this, what they're doing with lies. You can't, with lie after lie after lie after lie. Now, then and if you have the media, everybody, having the media, they can get by with those lies. But this is really important to you guys. What we have now that we didn't have then, okay, back when I said I would not run for governor after the 2020 election, I got so involved with securing our election platforms. But another thing that was destroyed, or almost destroyed, on January 7th and 8th of 2021, I've said it many times on the show, 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed, and anyone that spoke out about the elections, the vaccine, or spoke up for Jesus Christ got deplatformed, and our voice was like a little dot. We almost lost our voice forever. This is when I came out with Lindell TV, and we came out with this. What we have now that we didn't have then is he could easily have gotten away with all this nonsensical stuff, even this fall. All the lies that were spewing out of that campaign, the fake, even Harris getting put in there without an election, but all this stuff happening, the people were able to hear about the lies and see through that, because they're not watching the Fox Newses and the CNNs anymore. They're getting it from Lindell TV. They're getting it from many, many social media platforms now, from Vocal to Truth to Elon. That's another thing with Elon getting rid of Jack Dorsey's corrupt Twitter, and now it's his X. And then also even Suckerbuck, I said before, at least doesn't put up the false flags anymore. So with that, we got about 3 minutes. I'm going to say this time around, where I didn't do it in 2020, I'm going to tell you right now, I am considering running for governor of the state of Minnesota, because right now we have a voice that could be big enough where when I do my due diligence and we're going to do polling, we're going to get a couple different polls to be taken. We're going to be doing, you do all kinds of due diligence. I'm just checking into all this now. But they're saying, well, why would you consider it now and you didn't consider it then? Because we got our voice back, and all the lies that Walz is putting out we will see through them. It won't just be me saying it or we're saying it on Lindell TV. The whole world will be screaming it, that these lies will be uncovered. And what are they going to do? Go, well, Mike Lindell, he was a crack addict. Yeah. What else you got? So there you have it. Rick, I kind of surprised you with that. I am considering it, and I'm going to do due diligence over these as we roll out this. I'm going to make some bigger announcements tomorrow, and hopefully that we'll find out that the polling will do and all this stuff will show. I think it's going to show. I live here in Minnesota. Everywhere I go, nobody wants Tim Walz. They don't. I mean, it's like even if you're a Democrat and you think he's a good Democrat governor, they don't even like him for what he did, these nonsensical things he did. So let's say you are a Democrat and you really believe that it's still the Democrat Party's still the same. You would not want Walz. You would want anything but him. That's what I'm hearing all over the state of Minnesota.
I am absolutely shocked, and I am glad to be one of the first people here to actually, in real time, hear that you are faithfully considering a run for governor. I want to express that, number one, people who are watching this program, please pray for this decision one way or the other. Mike, I am going to help you in any way that I can when it comes to election integrity, exploring your campaign options. I'll make a call to a few people that I know in Minnesota to let them know that you are faithfully considering a run for governor. And let's find out what people think. And I would encourage people to reach out and share this post, and I hope that there will be a shorter video, to get the discussion going in Minnesota. And with some of the things that we've talked about here today on this very show, this kind of puts a nice envelope and a package together for people to faithfully consider and pray about the budget, education, the tampons in bathrooms. Bringing back common sense to Minnesota, I think, is a wonderful platform. And people will probably dismiss you as being crazy. Well, guess what? You got to be crazy in these positions. I serve publicly in Minnesota as a small town mayor. I currently serve in South Dakota in the city council. And it is those of us who are prayerfully willing to publicly serve to understand that as small business owners, we can bring value based upon our life experiences to have a positive outlook for our fellow citizens and to rebuild our communities, because it is the love of Christ that we want to exemplify and allow people to understand their walk with Christ and to be able to share their gifts with other people to make our communities better. So thank you for considering.
Well, I wanted to surprise you with that. And you know what? I look around and I'm going, our great president, such a mentor when as a businessman, I'm going, I look at this, I go, where's this going to end here? This is my state I grew up in. I'm seeing it just get destroyed. It's so sad. And now that he has become the spokesman kind of for the marketing for across the country, it's a game changer. So I'm looking at every single thing option and doing my due diligence, and we'll have a lot more for you tomorrow, everybody. A lot more surprises and.
Mike, before we go, I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and I can keep a secret because you told me this morning, and I've been, my lips have been sealed ever since, but I've been so excited all day, hoping the Lord leads you in the right direction, as he always does. The Lord is on your side. He's on all of our sides, and, we talked about Tim Walz today. It's good versus evil in this situation, too. As I've been listening to you both talk, you have President Trump, Elon Musk, you, Mike Lindell, all successful, smart businessmen, and they attack you left and right. But the American people love you, and I think that you'll prevail and you'll do fine wherever your path leads you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. God bless you all. We'll have more tomorrow. Rick, thanks for coming on. I knew I'd surprise you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So,
God bless
always
you,
a fun
everybody.
journey.
And Steve Bannon with the War Room's up next, everybody.
You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy. Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.